Hello everybody, Beard Reads Books here, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing this, The Black-Eyed Child of Cannock Chase by Lee Brickley. A little while ago I read this other book of his, Werewolves and Dogmen in the UK. I did a book review on that in which I said that I was decidedly underwhelmed by this book, but I thought I'd give one of his other books a try, and this is the one I decided to read. Now, this came about as a result of the first book that Lee Brickley wrote, which was UFOs, Werewolves and the Pigman. In that book, he'd included one account of a black-eyed child that a family member of his had spotted. Local paper had picked up on that particular story and sort of printed an article on it, and as a result loads and loads of people started sort of getting in touch with their own accounts of meeting this black-eyed child of the Cannock Chase. So with this book, what Lee Brickley's done is he's collected all these accounts from different people that have sort of encountered this black-eyed child, and he's basically just sort of put all these accounts together into this little book. At first, when I looked at how thin this book is, I mean it's only about 48 pages. At first I thought, is this going to be another bit of a duff book? But I must admit, I actually quite enjoyed it, because, well, there's a few reasons I've enjoyed it. Cause there's quite a few different accounts from people, and with each account, I don't know how well you can see that if I do it like that. What Lee Brickley's done is it's got where each account happened. For example, Birches Valley on this particular story. So it's got where each account happened, it's got the date that it happened and the time that it happened. And I personally, when I'm reading stories of strange encounters, I quite like that information. I personally quite like to know sort of pretty much exactly where it happened, the date it happened, and where possible the time it happened. So you know, I think this was quite good that he added that information in. So I do think that's quite good. I personally think it's important myself. And also with all these accounts, he set them out in chronological order, which was quite a good thing. So I mean, one of the earliest. So I mean, the first one was like the Birches Valley, that was in 2013, and then the final account that he put in, if I get to the right page, was a Stafford Road encounter in 2020, and it's basically various accounts of people who have spotted this black-eyed child. She's a kind of a, I'm going to call it a supernatural paranormal encounter, because yeah, she seems to be a very strange girl who can sort of levitate and all sorts of things, and there's a lot of similarities between these encounters. You know, they've all got a lot in common. And one thing I really liked is what Lee Brickley's basically done is he's just put these accounts together. So these are accounts that are written in the witness's own words. And so Lee Brickley, he hasn't put the accounts into his own words. He's basically just sort of reprinted them as the witness wrote them, and he's given a very brief afterwards and all the rest, Lee Brickley, and he hasn't He hasn't made any comments with regards to the accounts or about the black-eyed child. He hasn't passed any comment, any judgment. He hasn't put forward any theories of his own. He's basically kept quiet with regards to what his thoughts are on the black-eyed child. He's basically just put these accounts together in one book and presented it to the reader, whoever's reading the book. So the result of that is you can read through these books you can read through these accounts without being influenced by what Lee Brickley thinks about the account. So there's no subconscious influence from him, if you see what I mean. You can read through these accounts and be 100% free from any kind of influence by Lee Brickley. You're kind of free to form your own opinions, your own ideas and all the rest. Another thing I like about this book, even though it's a very short book, and even though there's only sort of a small selection of accounts in here, it's got all these accounts of this black-eyed child in one place. So if you want to sort of know about accounts, if you want to read the eyewitnesses' accounts of the black-eyed child, you don't have to go searching for all them across multiple sort of like internet forums, internet bulletin boards, or whatever. If you've got a copy of this book, you've got all these accounts in one easy to access place. Now, I don't know if there's any other books out there about the black-eyed child, any books that might go into any more depth or detail or any more in-depth investigation into who or what the black-eyed child is. I'm going to have a little look-see if there are any books. I'm intrigued to know if there are any more books that go into sort of research into more in-depth investigation. But my personal feeling is this is a very good book to have as a springboard into going into more in-depth investigation as to who or what the black-eyed child of Cannock Chase is. So yeah, I'm going to have a little investigation myself, because I'd like to know a bit more, because there's definitely something to these stories. There's definitely something going on, but there's something behind it all, and I'd like to investigate more for my own personal curiosity. But I personally think that this would be a very good book to have if you're doing more in-depth investigations into the black-eyed child, because this is very good to have as like reference for like other people's accounts. I'd go as far as to say that even if you're not intrigued enough to be doing more in-depth research investigation into the black-eyed child yourself, this is probably still a good book to have, purely because it's all these sort of witness accounts. They're interesting to read in their own right, I think. Even though it's a short book, it's still an interesting book. So yes, I can honestly say that in my own personal opinion, Lee Brickley has written at least one good book, and this is that one good book that he's written. So I didn't rate this book particularly highly. Like I said in that review, this is probably a good book for sort of young teens, but not necessarily an interesting read for adults, the adult market. That was my own personal opinion. Other people might disagree with me on that. But I mean, this particular book, I would go as far as to say that, in my opinion, this is an interesting read for children and adults alike. You know, so yes, I'd say if you're going to get one of Lee Brickley's books, I'd say definitely have a look at this one. This is a good one to have, I think. So, if any of you have read this book, drop me a comment. Let me know. If you're aware of any other books about the black-eyed child of Cannock Chase, sort of any books that might go into a bit more detail, a bit more depth, a bit more research and all that, let me know. Drop a comment drop me a comment telling me the title and the author's name, because I'd be interested to know if there are any other books out there that go into more in-depth detail. And if any of you have actually had an encounter of your own with a black-eyed child, I am personally interested in hearing your accounts if you have seen the black-eyed child yourself. So yeah, if you've had an encounter of your own and you're willing to share it with me, tell me about it. I'm definitely interested to hear about it. So anyway, guys, that's my little review on this book. Hope you've enjoyed watching. I look forward to seeing you again in my next book review video. And in the meantime, stay safe and happy reading.